Hello, everybody, and welcome to the weekly Weebcast. I'm your host, Geoff Thew, reporting to you live, or not live at all, this is recorded, from Tokyo, the capital of glorious Nippon, which is basically the Disneyland of anime. I'm here with my girlfriend, Yazi. We have been traveling the land of the rising sun together. Say hi, Yazi.
Hi, Yazi.
Perfect. This is why I love her. And I'm also joined today by the wonderful educational anime YouTuber, the Canipa Effect.
Hello. I'm the wonderful educational... God, those are a lot of words. I just call it fun-formative.
Fun-formative. That's a good way of putting it.
It's my favourite word. Yeah, people say edutainment, but...
Fun-formative. Funformation. Funformation is much better.
Funformation, yeah.
Sounds dangerously close to Funimation. They're going to come knocking on your door and be like, sir, we have a copyright on that.
And that's unfortunate, because we're not sponsored by Funimation. We're sponsored by Crunchyroll. And you can go to crunchyroll.com/basement to get a 30-day free trial of Crunchyroll's anime service, which lets you watch all the anime you want any time of the day, unless you're in Japan, in which case you get like 2 series on the whole of the internet. They don't like Crunchyroll here, but if you're in North America, Crunchyroll is a great way to watch anime legally, quickly, and safely.
And give this man money, Wed.
Yeah. Although I don't think that the anime that we're talking about is on there. I think that might be on YouTube. Today we are going to be talking. Where is it uploaded?
30 seconds of Crunchyroll adverts.
Yep, that's how we do it on the Weebcast. The weekly shillcast.
Show me. Did you know?
Yeah, 30...
Wait, did you know that the first time Geoff talked to my mom, he started shilling?
I did.
He gave her his Crunchyroll link. My mother.
Yep, that was what I did.
Are your Christmas cards just going to have referral codes in them?
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
It's genius.
Canipa, you should be my channel manager.
Both are the Crunchyroll source.
Oh
god. Yeah, both of us were in our Crunchyroll sweat. Oh, we need to get those Crunchyroll Christmas sweaters.
Oh my god.
Oh wait, did we break an NDA by saying that Crunchyroll has Christmas sweaters?
No, it was just...
I haven't heard of them, so probably.
No,
you've probably broken that NDA.
No, Miles left the office with his Crunchyroll Christmas sweater. We're good to go. I think he actually posted a video today, an unboxing video.
Yeah, he's posted stuff wearing it. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're fine. But I want one of those sweaters.
Well, you're never gonna get.
They're so ugly. It's great.
Anyway.
Pokemans. So there's a new Pokemon game that actually matters.
Yep.
There was a new Pokemon game before, but no one cared about that after a week. There's a new Pokemon anime. We have been to a Pokemon store this week.
Stop saying Pokemon.
No.
People are going to think that's all you know how to say.
There is actually a Twitter bot that every time you say Pokemon, it says, no, they're actually Pokemon. And I just enjoy it.
Yeah. There's a lot of good...
It's coming for you, Geoff.
There's a lot of good... Yeah, that's going to be all over the comments, but that's fine. That's fine, because the more comments we get, the better this video does, more likely it is to rank. Can we get 100,000 likes up in here?
Stop it. God.
Can we get 1 million comments?
What have I stumbled into?
This is a showcast.
This is going to be a respectable podcast with respectable people talking about a respectable show, but absolutely ruined.
Absolutely out the window. I mean, yeah, this show has clearly gone downhill a long way since Digibro left.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so new Pokemon season is out. I figured we should cover it on the Weebcast because we cover all of the new seasonal anime, and there was a bit of a delay for this thing launching because...
Yeah. It's not technically seasonal, but...
this will be running until one of the animators has a child die of neglect, or or a new Pokemon game comes out, because that's how these shows work.
Yeah.
Actually, you can probably tell us a bit more about the production side of things, because if you guys don't know, Canipa runs an absolutely fantastic channel where he basically goes into like detail about how different anime companies work, what makes their corporate cultures unique, how their production process translates to making different things better than other people can make them. And the reason that I brought him on for this is because he got very lit about people saying that the new Pokemon anime looks ugly.
Oh my god, it looks so good though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You've managed to explain my channel better than I've managed to ever do, so thanks for that.
Now you gotta
I used to be a
pay
copywriter.
It shows with that Crunchyroll. And, yeah, it's not that I got mad that people didn't like the look of it. It's that every time someone doesn't like something, they suddenly create a world in which that suddenly makes sense, and that seems like an informed opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there was the thing about how suddenly Pokemon has, according to many comments I've seen, Pokemon Sun and Moon has been passed over to a different studio, whilst the XYZ studio worked on Generations. It's actually the opposite. Generations was outsourced. But then there's... then apparently it's meant to be copying Yokai Watch. And having seen 100 plus episodes of Yokai Watch, I can tell you that that's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
That's also something I never wanted to admit publicly, but my hand has been forced.
Do you not like Yokai Watch?
I love Yokai Watch, but I am not allowed to say that in public because it's got a bad reputation.
Does it have a bad reputation?
It's one of the kids shows that you can't justify watching based on nostalgia, because it's like 2013.
Yeah.
So,
but I haven't watched the show yet, but I've been playing the game on and off, like the first game. Been meaning to get into the second one at some point. But
yeah,
like Yokai Watch feels to me like what Pokemon felt like when I was a kid. Except I'm an adult now with like an objective sense of, or a semi-objective sense of quality. And I like level 5 has polished that game to a degree that until now Pokemon never reached. I would argue that Sun and Moon probably hits that level too without the voice acting. But I love Yokai Watch. I'm surprised that
the anime is very different to it as well.
Yeah, it's a kid's show, so.
And it's I'm writing about this as well, but written by I've completely forgotten his name. I've forgotten the name of the person who is genuinely incredible. One of the best writers at the moment, Yoichi Kato. He's he's one of the biggest names in kids anime, and pretty much nobody knows about him. But that's Yokai Watch, so we've gone completely off topic. Yeah, because kids anime.
And having not seen Yokai Watch,
we're not talking about Yokai Watch.
I just want to quickly ask: is it a good-looking show?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But
it's done by a different OLM team, so there's a different general approach to it, and there's different philosophies going on behind it. But yeah, it's a good-looking show. It's got some good, consistent animation and some good character stuff.
I'm surprised now that kids anime has become like almost the high point for animation quality. Because for a while, kids anime was the place you went to for canned animations, static backgrounds, static characters, and basically the most bare bones production you could get away with. And now it's almost turned around to the point where the most impressive shows are things like Yokai Watch, things like the new Pokemon. I think Puzzles and
Precure as well.
Oh yeah, Precure is beautiful. Precure has great production values.
Yeah.
Maybe part of that is because they can break away from the traditional anime look and go for visuals that don't necessarily have like a very high line count but animate well.
I really think that is it. I think like going into Sun and Moon, it's kind of taken it back and said, how can we refine this into the best possible design for animation, assuming that our audience cares more about how these characters move and how the movements resonate than just still images. And I think there's this steady progression with kids shows where they're starting to go taking priorities towards animation. And the thing is, when designs are easier to animate, then you start getting people who are excited about animation in, and you start getting really talented people who are like, oh, cool, I can do all of these things with this design. I wouldn't have been bothered to go onto your show with the old ones.
And yeah, they bring on the new the talent that is currently training up through technical schools and animation colleges and stuff, because there are a lot of very talented animators in Japan who it seems like a lot of them won't even touch commercial anime.
There are some.
I mean, Mob Psycho 100 was another project that attracted a lot of very talented people. One Punch Man.
Yeah, but you also need like directors and producers who are specifically looking for new talent. And there's a lot of cases where it'll be bringing on the old crew back together. But there genuinely are some people who are just massively enthusiastic about getting new people in, new skill sets, and even like in the case of the paint on glass animation in Mob Psycho, like new forms of animation entirely being brought into the mainstream.
I mean, Mob Psycho hit like 8 or 9 different stylistic types of visual styles with its animation. There was a ton of mixed media in that show.
Yeah, Mob Psycho 100 is my favorite Pokemon region.
Yeah, we should talk about Pokemon. The off-topic cast.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and like tie this in, but that's kind of what Hiroyuki Kato, the producer of Pokemon, has tried to do with Sun and Moon, because the entire show isn't digital, but they want it to be entirely digital. So they're starting to move into that, and part of that has been bringing in new talents, the tie-in. So there's people even from France, America, people from around the world being brought in because they're skilled with Toon Boom Animation, which is the software they're now getting on board with.
Yeah, Toon Boom has kind of like completely overtaken Flash, hasn't it?
Yeah. Like everyone I've spoken to about Toon Boom Animation has sung its praises. So even though I'm not an animator myself, I've made the effort to go out and talk to all these animators because I need to get a consensus on this. And generally, the consensus is, Toon Boom's great. So
yeah, I mean, I used to work with Flash when I was in game design school. I hated it with a passion for a lot of different reasons. My entire class would sing out, like every time that Flash broke, my entire class would sing out, "Flash! Ah! Savior of the universe!" But
that's fantastic.
And that song happened like 8 or 9 times a day at our school during peak work hours, because Flash is terrible. Toon Boom, obviously you can't make games with it, but that's kind of a benefit. Like,
yeah, it's focused.
Yeah, it's got a very good flow, like a good workflow from what I can tell. I mean, I'm not like a professional animator, but I would much rather use that software than I would Flash.
Yeah. The workflow is a big part of it because it can integrate with 3D systems. You can do storyboards on it. You can do the layouts. You can do the coloring, finish animation, and then just in the end throw it all into After Effects, do the digital effects, and you're done.
Yeah.
So it massively streamlines the what would usually be paper and pen, then going into one software for coloring, one software for another thing, and yeah, there's many detractions to take from digital animation, but like the pure idea of managing to get things done quicker and making it production smoother just generally means people have more time to do more animation. So that is why Sun and Moon is like people can argue as much as they like about whether it's better animated or they just don't like the animation at all.
Well, I mean,
it's more animated.
Yeah, I think it's objective. I don't think most anime fans really understand what good animation is. There's a lot of like cross pollution between good animation and this makes a good wallpaper.
Kind of, yeah.
I've been in conversations online where somebody told me unironically that A, they think Sword Art Online isn't well animated, which it's not. B, that they think
there are some genuinely fantastic cuts in Sword Art Online.
Oh, there are some
Sword
fantastic
Art Online 2
cuts.
has some really, really good cuts.
But Sword Art Online 2, and it's like even in its OP, has some absolutely horrible animation compositing. Where the characters on the 3D backgrounds just don't work.
Okay, yeah. There's the photography stage. It's kind of a mess.
And it's got a lot of like really, really floaty animations, which I've also somebody who was arguing with me online at one point told me that Horizon in the Middle of Nowhere is a very well animated show, and that's just, I don't know if you've seen it.
I have seen it, but I can't remember.
Everybody in that show moves around like they're like plastic figures being picked up and put down. There's like no weight to anything. Whereas with Pokemon, like every character is the new Pokemon, every character is super expressive. Every action has like a very realistic weight to it. There are a lot of moments, I think in the first 2 episodes especially, I'm not sure how much it's changed since then because being in Japan, we haven't really been able to watch the last few episodes. But there's like a few moments where characters are talking and it's very stiff, and it seems like a holdover from the old animation team and how they preferred to do things. But like a lot of the time, there's just like characters are doing stage business in the background. Their body language is more expressive even when they're just standing and talking. It's just a lot livelier to watch, and I think that people could argue that it's less aesthetically pleasing. But I don't think that you could argue that the animation is worse. If only on the grounds that there's so much more of it.
Yeah, like it is hard to try and level a conversation where it is just quantifiable. And in the case of Pokemon Sun and Moon, it's ridiculously so. I made a lot of predictions about like just from the design sheet. I was like, okay, this might be really animated, and then animators started coming forwards and expressing their excitement. So I was like, okay, this. But I was fully ready to have to justify saying that. I was fully ready for it to come out, be not that impressive, and for me to have to say, oh no, well, it might get better later on or something. But it absolutely blew me away in regards to it. And I know people... I know that there's this constant feeling that why does anyone give a shit about animation? But... I feel like saying... why care about the animation? Just, this is the story, care about this more. It's like saying... Why do you care about this actor acting? Just get them off screen. We only need the writing.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of instances of both sides of things where, like, A, people say that writing is bad because an actor is bad, and B, people say that bad writing is good because an actor delivers it well. And yeah, I think people don't put enough stock in performance, and animation is absolutely performance. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I know that I've harped on Mob Psycho a lot, but the ending theme of Mob Psycho, the little details, like how Reagan sips out of his water glass and then pours the rest into his plant, or just how he puts on his shoes, like little details like that can tell you a lot about a character's personality that somebody has to write at some point. You know, somebody has to write that, but you can convey that without words.
Yeah. And in a way, animators are storytellers in themselves. Like this, there are so many cases of animators who have just seen the storyboards, gone, I've got a better idea, and then just kind of like done their own thing with the director's permission, of course. But
yeah,
and animators kind of know how people should act, what would be a good reaction to this moment. And if you give animators time, they create more story. So, yeah, you mentioned, like, things going on in the background or just, like, little fun movements. Like, those small things and those small moments of extra narrative, I guess you could call it, is a result of the time now given.
Yeah. Like, I mean, we should clarify, good animators do that, because Japan does have a bit of a problem with animators who are just fans of anime and not necessarily people who study people. And that can... that can make the...
those claims have been overblown by old farts somewhat.
Yeah, I mean, Miyazaki's an old codger, but...
It's this awkward situation where you got to kind of explain the animator problem with there are too many animators and there are not enough animators in regards to there are too many people trying to be animators but not enough people trained to be animators.
Yeah,
especially like this is completely off topic, but the rise of 3D mechs is just because whilst there are loads and loads of animators, there are not nearly enough people who are specialised within mechanical animation.
Right, so they have to use 3D models in order to cheat that out.
Yeah. Like, people talk about cost and stuff, but no, it's genuinely more expensive to do it 3D. They would really, really want to get someone who can do 2D mech animation, but Sunrise 3 kind of has a monopoly.
Yeah. Like, they've got pretty much everybody who knows how to make a piston move realistically in 2D. Although, I mean, I think in certain cases 3D can look better for mecha. But we're getting off topic.
You know, the thing is,
entirely.
I was just looking back on old stuff, like old Pokemon anime stuff, and it was never really that good anyway.
The visuals?
Oh god.
Yeah.
No, they were awful.
Yeah, like I'm okay. Not even in like the movies where they had all this time and money.
And even like the only well animated Pokemon movie really is Pokemon 3. No, I mean the first one has some Sakuga moments, I'd say, but 3 is the only one that I'd say is like consistently very well animated. The one with Entei. Oh, I just Freudian slipped there.
Great moments.
But I mean, we were watching Pokemon Forever on the plane over here.
The animation fucking sucks.
It's a fucking TV movie level of animation.
But like and I'm not even going that far.
Heroes is quite good though.
Yeah, Heroes is good, and I mean, X, Y, and Z pushed things about as far as they could with the designs of the characters, but like you can see a dramatic step up in quality in recent Pokemon seasons whenever Ash and the other trainers are off screen.
But also
because the Pokemon are designed to animate.
They added in, I don't know, it used to be so simple too.
Mm-hmm.
Like the movement was so simple when they were running. It was just like they weren't actually moving. You know, it was just a couple frames of running on screen and the background But now they're adding so much now. They're adding visual gags they didn't used to do.
Mm-hmm.
They're adding just the expressions the character have are so much better. Characters are so much better than they were before. Their reactions to things, everything is just better.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how people can say.
Yeah, the third episode of no, not third. The fourth episode of Pokemon Sun and Moon. I won't lie, I teared up a bit. It's not even a sad episode, but there was so much character animation within Rowlet, and just small little motions, small little expressions, and change and ways characters squash and stretch. Like, even when words weren't said, I was like, oh, this is such a moving moment.
They set off in the game.
No special music, just animation,
And Yazi brings up a good point. They do that a lot in the game. I mean, they obviously put more care into Rowlet and other Pokemon that are like mascot Pokemon.
But I feel like Sun and Moon is the first generation in a while that really makes the Pokemon feel like they're yours again, and that they're individual. That they're they make Ash's Rowlet seem like his, and they make the one you get in the game feel like your special Rowlet that has its own personality. Yeah. Because they're so full of movement and they're so full of expression. It's just,
when you pet him, sorry.
Yes.
When you pet him and like you dangle food in front of his face and Rowlet nod like eagerly to like he nods, he's like, I want that food. Please give it to me.
And like I'm a huge Pokemon fan, but I kind of fell off the bus for a few generations. After Sinnoh, it felt like all the Pokemon were just generic in the sense that when I was playing it, when I was watching it, they just felt very forgettable. Not in their designs, but in the way they were executed.
They feel like cards with numbers on them.
Yeah, and they finally got back to feeling it, to making it feel like they were yours. I feel like when I send out a Pokemon, I'm like, yeah, that's my Pokemon. When I pet them, I'm like, oh yeah, it makes me feel like I have a better connection to them. Yeah, and that's I think why a lot of people also kind of fell off. Yeah, is that they lost that kind of charm of it, and they're finally bringing it back, and people hate it for some reason.
I think Yokai Watch brought that back too.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, those detailed character animations are very important for making a world, or for making the people in a story feel alive. And the new season's done that in a lot of small ways too. Like even in the first episode when they're riding in the rickshaw, the Tauros rickshaw cart, Ash is doing his own thing, Delia's doing her own thing, and then Mr. Mime is sort of like looking around, and in the background you see people milling about and shopping. There's like layers to the image.
Yeah, the Eccentric family has some amazing shots like that, and creating a world can just be, I won't say as simple as, because crowd animation is fucking difficult, but it's really as basic a concept as having people move within a world, and that's what Sun and Moon absolutely nails. There's some stupid visual, I won't say stupid because that's got a negative connotation, but there are some silly visual gags where Pikachu might electrocute a room of people, and then we'll see a reaction from Rowlet, who's hiding in Ash's bag, a character that we've completely forgotten about, but there's a consistency to it. And one of my favourite things in live action is a consistent world. When I'm watching a TV show, I want them to walk into one room and I want to see them immediately walk into the next room.
Mm-hmm.
And creating the school grounds in a way that they're walking off that way I know exactly which forest they're going into. People are complaining, and I know this entire podcast is now going to seem like an entirely defensive of it, but we've been put on the back foot anyway, and I've just forgotten what I was just about to say.
Yeah. I mean,
I feel like with Sun and Moon they were trying to bring it back to being an all ages franchise.
Yeah,
as opposed to a kids franchise.
And not just an all ages franchise.
That's weird because people say the opposite.
That's what
people say now it's suddenly a kids show for some reason.
No, it's
always been like that.
I think they're making it an all regions franchise. Is the big push that they're making. They're trying to give Pokemon a global appeal again. Because for a long time, I think Pokemon sort of fell into that trap of
Japanese anime.
of being very Japanese, but also not really having its own personality. After a while, it was kind of trying to just be Pokemon, the phenomenon, instead of Pokemon, the very specific bug collecting hobby show that it started as. And this brings us back to what is probably the first really unique setting for a Pokemon game in a while. Kanto to Johto was a big leap. Johto to what's the region of Ruby? Hoenn. That was a big leap. Hoenn to Sinnoh was a little bit less of a big change, Sinnoh just felt like a more detailed Hoenn. And then from there, it was a lot of, going into Unova and Kalos, it was a lot of the same, it's a big city, and they're basing this off of New York, or they're basing this off of different regions of Japan, but it kind of felt like we'd been to those places before.
A good point. I hadn't actually realized it until now, but whenever they're traveling between cities, there is always this distinctive, this is a forest. And there's nothing distinctive about this forest, but it is a forest, and it's fairly the same forest as the rest of the forest.
Yeah.
But Alola, it's got a jungle, and for a fact that if you go through those trees, there's going to be a beach and there's going to be an open sea. I feel like it's a world that you can actually relate to. Yeah. Because I think the games obviously have a lot of source material in that there is no boring terrain in the games.
And whereas, with Pokemon, I'm as far back as Black and White, they were trying to make the environments more interesting. But straight up through X and Y, it all felt like the Pokemon world. You know, the just more of what we'd seen.
Sun and Moon feels like the Alola region in general feels just like a whole new place for the first time in a long time.
It's a whole new world with a brand new attitude, and you still gotta catch 'em all. Okay.
I'm gonna kill myself.
No, you're gonna kill me first.
Yeah. But no, they finally, I don't know if they were trying before, but I feel like they finally pulled off making a region feel new again. And it feels like I actually want to explore this region. Definitely. I want to see Ash explore this region, because I felt like since like Hoenn, even, they've all felt the same.
Yeah.
All of the grass looks the same. It's just better drawn. Everything just looks... Do you know what I mean? Like the sprites look the same. Everything looked...
Hoenn was the last time that they really changed things up, and part of that was the graphical upgrade, and part of that was the fact that it was like more ocean based. Like Johto, Kanto to Johto. Trumpets. What?
And trumpets.
And trumpets, yeah, and trumpets. That's important. But Kanto to Johto, it's like the difference from the Kanto region of Japan to Kyoto, and a
man who doesn't know what region that's in.
No, but it's like a difference from a more like the small towns that you see in Persona 4 versus much older architecture, more tradition, like Erutik town feels very different from Lavender Town. And there are lots of like subtle differences in how stuff's laid out that makes Johto feel unique from Kanto. And then obviously the Hoenn region is more tropical and more water filled. So that feels different. But from there it's just we've been here. We've been there.
Yeah, and I feel like they tried to get out of that. They added, like, in, I believe, Black and White is when they added defog, or was it in Platinum and Diamond, Platinum, and Pearl?
Oh, it was in Diamond and Platinum.
Yeah, so they added that whole new thing of fog, and they really tried to up their just kind of how deep the game felt. And they tried to add they added the whole the new environment of fog and the new HM. But so they were trying to make it feel different.
Which is...
But it
didn't work. It didn't work.
It's like the difference of adding a new, like a new mechanic to a card game that's just like a new way, like Exceed summoning in Yu-Gi-Oh! Nobody in this conversation is going to get this. Never mind.
I unfortunately do. I've got a lot of friends who've just suddenly researched back into Yu-Gi-Oh!
But yeah, like Exceed and Synchro summoning in Yu-Gi-Oh! Changes things up, but if you're still just special summoning out of your extra deck, you need to create like a fundamental difference, a fundamental reason for people to do that. And you need to change up the feel of things. Like, it's kind of crazy that Sun and Moon is how many generations has it been now? 7 or 8?
We're on the 7th.
We're on the 7th generation.
7.
Okay, so it's been 7 generations, and Sun and Moon is the first time that you regularly go back to your house. And
that's not true.
You're living around the area.
In Johto, I believe your mom saves money for you.
Oh yeah, your mom saves money for you.
No,
in
Hoenn.
Yeah,
is when she saves
you
money
have a reason to go back there, but Sun and Moon is the first time where it's like, I'm on this island. I am never more than half an hour away from my mom.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then when you go to a new island, that changes the feel because you don't have that thing you can rely on. It also allows the islands to feel very different from each other while still having like a regional feel.
Yeah, it's like so no one gets bored.
Yeah.
As soon as you start to get kind of bored of an island, it's time to go to the next one. So it's
and that sort of contributes to this being the first time in a long time, too, that they've tried to make Pokemon weird and unique again instead of playing it safe.
Yeah, that I feel like so long they tried to skirt by on just adding a new feature to the same old game.
Mm-hmm.
They added secret bases, they added defog. They were just trying to keep the same game because they knew the game would work. They knew the game would work for them. They knew everyone would love it, and they were just like, let's just add a little spice to it by adding something small. And finally, I think with the arguable failure of X and Y, they realized they just had to kind of completely flip it, and they did. They got rid of gyms. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. I mean,
X and Y was a financial success.
Yes,
but it was not to the degree that you would expect from we've poured millions of dollars into upgrading the visuals of this game across the board.
It was a 3DS debut, so with a huge marketing campaign surrounding it, I would have expected more from it.
Mm-hmm.
I think X and Y was actually the first Pokemon game ever that I haven't finished.
Mm-hmm.
I've always gone to the end and then done the stuff after your Elite Four and stuff.
Your Go Fight Red.
Yeah, all that
kind
of stuff.
Spoilers. Pokemon Gold spoiler alert, guys.
all of
I mean, 1997 is cross at you.
I mean, our anime will probably shut this podcast down for that.
So, but yeah, no, X and Y was the first time I was like, this kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And that I'm glad. I feel like if they didn't breathe some new air into it with the way they did, the extreme way they did with Sun and Moon, then they kind of would have started to not do well.
X and Y, was the point, I think, where they were completely up their own ass.
Yeah.
Because they were just doing what they've been doing forever from a story standpoint and an aesthetic standpoint, basically spinning their wheels. And then from a gameplay standpoint, that was the one where they tried to make everything super accessible and ended up making it overcomplicated. Like
the XP share, they could never balance it. If you put it on, then the game was too easy, and if you took it off, the game was too hard. You just had to spend time grinding. So.
Whereas Sun and Moon, you leave your XP share on, and the game kicks your ass.
Holy shit, that game kicks everyone's ass. I cannot believe how hard that game is.
Totem Pokemon are bad men. But yeah, X and Y had this real... I think that what they tried to do with the balloon training thing, which was a way of training up your EVs and making EV training accessible, instead of just being this thing that only the hardcore new types know how to do. It was like the first time that competitive Pokemon could have been accessible, but then they kind of ruined it by making the game, the core game, way too easy.
Yeah, it was the first Pokemon game that felt like a children's game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I know they are children's games, but it was the first one that I actually felt I was too old for.
Mm-hmm. And
it followed on from Black and White 2, which was, genuinely, it's the only game so far that's had a New Game Plus mode where you can play it harder.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
But,
fuck that idea.
Yeah, fuck. I like it every
good
time.
Ideas.
I like it every time they try to make Pokemon into more of a JRPG. I'm one of the 2 human beings on Earth. We argued about this last week. I'm one of the 2 human beings on Earth who enjoyed Pokemon XD and Pokemon Colosseum.
I fucking love Pokemon XD and Pokemon Colosseum. They still remain my favorite Pokemon games.
Okay, thank you.
You're
the other human being on Earth who loves those games, because I was talking about this last week on the JRPG podcast, and Yazi sort of cursed me out for it like a bully.
What? Those are fantastic games.
Mm-hmm.
genuinely made I've been hoping for so long that they would actually make something like that. Pokemon Sun and Moon is the closest they've come to replicating.
Have
Sun
either of you ever played Mystery Dungeon?
Mystery Dungeon is very different, but cool.
All right. Okay. Acceptable. That's an acceptable word to use for it.
I mean, I like roguelikes.
I just really enjoy Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, and I think that one does not
I like most of them.
Mystery Dungeon,
Super Mystery Dungeon was a pain.
Mystery Dungeon story is definitely a lot better than most Pokemon. But I mean, what I really like about Sun and Moon as a game is that it's so much more cinematic, and not in like a just this video game is just trying to be cinematic. I mean, they move the camera in a way that enhances the comedy or enhances the drama of the scene, and not just, oh, we can move the camera now, which is how Pokemon X and Y did it when it did it.
Yeah. Even earlier games were having a go with that, saying, "Oh, look at our cinematic techniques." And
oh my gosh,
even Diamond and Pearl had a go.
Yeah.
Was it Diamond and Pearl that had the huge foggy bridge, or was that?
No, Black and White. No.
Black
and White had the huge bridge.
Black and White had loads of bridges.
But there was one that had the foggy bridge that you could or couldn't use defog on if you really wanted to. And the camera angle on that pissed me off. Because there was no...
That was Black and White too, I think.
Yeah, so they took it to a bird's eye view for no reason. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I get it. You can do that.
You can rotate around your sprites now. Good for you guys.
Yeah, good job. Can we go back to the same... Like, there's no reason. There's nothing on this fucking bridge. Mm-hmm. Why did you do that? And for once in Sun and Moon, I'm like... When the camera moves, I'm like, ooh, what can I see now?
And they use the finally, we don't have to go around every single square tapping A to find invisible Pokeballs. Instead, they just hide stuff in baskets or behind walls. And it's like, oh, I found a cool secret that makes sense that I wouldn't be able to see where that is, instead of it's just an invisible Pokeball.
Yeah.
You know what one feature, though I think is very gimmicky with Sun and Moon, and I think they could have left out, was the taking pictures of Pokemon.
I like that. I like that.
What? Serious?
I always forget about it.
I miss Pokemon Snap. That's like my favorite part.
God,
but it doesn't fit in the game. If there was a bigger notification for like, hey, there's a Pokemon you can take a picture of, and if there was a better reward for taking good pictures of Pokemon.
Instead of like just some random comments, like I can put out a shit tweet and get a load of comments. Also, that's not a reward.
I went an entire island forgetting about taking pictures of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because the notification for it's just a little bing on the screen.
And that does suck. Yeah. You have to be like actively looking for it. But the actual activity of taking pictures of those Pokemon is fun.
I don't think so, though.
Not really.
Yeah, no.
I enjoy. I don't know how long you guys have spent doing it, but it's sort of like a zen out.
It's pretty boring.
You skip, but it's sort of like a zen thing where you like.
No, it's not.
No, because you can actually like pick up on the different movement patterns of the Pokemon.
But it's looped.
It's not looped, though.
It is looped.
So the Growlithe is looped. The Pikachu is not looped.
And the Furret, you
you
fucking miss him once, you're done. Like,
yeah, they have randomly selected things. I mean, this is a technology that we've been using in boss battles for a while. They have patterns, but it's not like there's tells and stuff. It's not great.
I wonder how many people just stopped listening.
Yeah,
because Geoff.
Oh, absolutely. People say, "Oh, the fucking snap feature." I didn't even notice that.
Exactly, Geoff. You're the only one.
I don't know. I miss Pokemon Snap a lot.
I think most people did the first one. It was like, oh, this is a cool feature. Realized it was boring as hell because they start you off with like a camera that can't even zoom,
a fucking flip phone camera.
But I mean, you can get the zoom feature in like 5 minutes.
After taking loads of pictures, actually, after engaging with the terrible feature.
Yeah. I think they could have left that out. I think that no one benefits from it because it's a little difficult for kids.
I enjoyed it.
But it's too boring and pointless for adults unless your name is Geoff.
I enjoyed it, okay? I mean, like, if people can enjoy walking around in No Man's Sky, then I can enjoy playing this for Zen
But I make fun of both kinds of people. That's the thing.
Yeah.
On the topic
we are going to actively just group you two together and push you off a cliff.
Exactly.
It's much easier that way.
On the topic of like features, I guess the dropping of HMs. Thank God.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The fact that they finally got rid of that need for an HM slave.
You can just call up an HM slave.
But they don't take up room.
Oh, I just kicked the table. That's bad. Yeah, no, they don't take up room in your party. You can just rent HM slaves now. This whole culture has enslaved Pokemon with HMs for the purpose of doing stuff for you.
But I'm so happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
I kind of had that feeling until I watched the anime, and thankfully those ride Pokemon are smiling. Therefore, I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
right.
It's multimedia content.
God, yeah, no, he pet that Sharpedo, and you're like, all right, it's fine.
That Sharpedo was good. Cute. But I don't know. The one thing that I kind of miss a little bit was like before I knew that the ride Pokemon thing was a thing. My Pokemon learned Rock Smash. I was like, oh, cool! I saw some boulders. I can go smash those boulders. Yeah. Nope. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that does... They didn't do anything interesting with HMs, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm glad they got rid of them, I feel like them getting rid of HMs is as big and great of a deal as when they made TMs reusable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, reusable TMs is the best thing that they've ever done. But
next to getting rid of HMs.
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like if they had just had some TM moves have those powers for navigation, and like, you know how some Pokemon can just learn those moves, like some Pokemon just learn Rock Smash, right? I feel like that would create a more meaningful early game progression of, I pick this starter Pokemon that has this one TM move early on that I won't get for a while, and that means that I can get a few different items if I explore. That would make your journey feel a bit more unique, and that's something that I always wish that they would do with the HM thing, and they just didn't.
So, I have a question for you, my Aussie friend. What is your favorite addition to the Pokemon world that doesn't really matter? Like, Jeff's is clearly the taking pictures of Pokemon.
No, it's not. It's not.
Terrible feature.
But what in all of the Pokemon games where they added in little features, what do you think your favorite insignificant feature is? No, not you. The Sterling one.
Yeah.
Jeff, you've already dug your grave.
While he thinks, I'm just gonna really quickly. Okay. Go.
I don't think it was totally insignificant.
Okay, your favorite gimmick.
The Battle Frontier.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Battle Frontier, on the surface, seems like when I was a kid, it seemed like a silly thing because all those Pokemon that I spent hours getting up to level 100, apparently that didn't matter, and it was so anti JRPG, because the whole idea of JRPG is you level up, you fight the boss. But the Battle Frontier was that first time when it brought it back, and I never appreciated it at the time, but I do appreciate it now that we don't have it.
I am a huge fan of Battle Tower, personally.
Battle Tower was cool.
Specifically the one in Platinum.
Mm-hmm.
They changed a lot of the stuff for it in Platinum, and I spent so much time there. I hate grinding. I avoid battling trainers when I can. Like if I can get around them, I get around them.
Yeah.
But something about Battle Tower in Platinum just kept me there, and it was so much fun. And it's not necessary to do Battle Tower, but I like the fact they gave you like rewards for defeating a certain amount of people. Like you defeated a certain amount of people, you got to fight Volkner and Flint as a doubles battle.
Mm-hmm.
Like that actually made it fun, but you don't have to. Like I really enjoyed it.
It's kind of cruel that every subsequent Pokemon game has referenced the Pokemon Tower.
Mm-hmm.
Every Black and White never had a Pokemon Tower. They mention it.
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon XY explicitly mentions there's a Pokemon Tower in some other regions, but we've got this Battle Chateau. And Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire mentions that there's a Battle Tower coming, but for now, we've got this Chateau.
Yeah,
and Sun and Moon kind of has a tower, but...
Yeah, I don't know. Battle Tower was... I think what makes Battle Tower enjoyable is that they actually, like, thought about the team compositions and made them, like, engaging fights.
Yeah, the fights are actually, like...
challenging.
But they're not too challenging.
Yeah.
They're, like, the in Sun and Moon, what's the Battle Royale is actually too hard for me to have fun with. At least right now. I hate it because it's not fun. But I hated other ones because they were too easy.
But the thing about Sun and Moon is the trainers around the island are fun.
Well, yeah, no, I'm talking about the Battle Royale.
Yeah, the Battle Royale.
It's fucking difficult.
It's
Battle Royale was a silly idea. I just don't get it. I don't see what the appeal of a 4-person Pokemon battle is. But it's never something I've ever wanted to do.
And like even I was like, oh man, that's gonna be an easy way to gang up on someone, and the fucking game gangs up on someone.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's broken by itself.
Yeah.
Like the fucking NPCs that you're playing against all gang up on one other NPC right away, and I was like, damn.
I did it on I did it online, and that is exactly what happens.
Yeah, no, I figured that would happen right away, because it's all 3 people have to just focus on one person, and you're done.
I mean, that's... So, I haven't gotten that far, unfortunately. How does it work, like, whoever gets... Whenever one player is eliminated, the whole Royale is done?
And you get points based on who hit the final blow and who killed them.
Right.
Who killed each Pokemon and who got each of the kills. So
right. So the way
like,
that's the way that's supposed to work is it's supposed to be like a Hell in a Cell match, or it's supposed to be like a 3-way match. You know, in wrestling, where a 3 or 4-way match where the winner is whoever pins somebody else, and you're trying to pin the other players, and then everybody attacks you to stop you from doing that, and then they start fighting each other. But unfortunately, it doesn't have like a rebound mechanic. The way that you stop somebody from killing somebody else is also the way that you kill them.
Yeah, it's I feel like...
And there's so many one-hit shot, like one-kill shots. It's like...
Yeah, there's... even when you play against the computer, I guess you can call it, against the NPCs, the diversity of the Pokemon they use is almost too much. Like, last time I played, there was, no matter what, like, I was fucked no matter who I sent in because of the type diversity. And obviously it's more challenging if they're not all fire type or they're not all grass type. But they had, like... It was just so spread out that I was like, no matter what, someone is strong against me. Or it's like, I'm weak against one of these people. And instead of everyone, like you said, trying to distribute and stop the strongest one, they just go with the strongest one and dogpile on the weakest one.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, that's not fun.
Because you want to get that last hit.
Yeah.
And it's... That's the unfortunate reality of that being turn-based, and it not being winner take all enough, because you do get points for helping. And I think that it should just straight up be whoever lands that last blow. So you're trying to get everyone down to the same level, more or less. Because you don't want anybody to be on the verge of death, because then by the time it comes around to your turn, you may have already lost.
Or I think another way they could have made it successful is to implement that and also make it make it last one standing. So when someone's out, they're out, but there's still 3 Pokemon fighting. That way, you're not as up to dogpiling on one person. You want to slowly work everyone down.
Yeah.
You don't want one person to have full health when you go, you know?
Yeah, you don't want to screw yourself over by focusing too much on somebody who's not
a threat.
Not a threat. And the flip side of that problem is that they are trying to do a Royal Rumble type thing. They are trying to make it like wrestling, obviously. It's just that what you have to remember with wrestling is that nobody acts with rational self-interest because they're trying to put on the best show possible. And the Battle Royale just ends up being boring. I have an actual answer to the question that you asked earlier, too.
Wow,
Yazzie.
I don't care. You already dug your hole of I love the Pokemon picture taking.
Yeah.
No, I think that the best thing that they ever added to Pokemon was the day-night cycle.
But that's not like a gimmick.
That's not a gimmick,
but what's your favorite, like, bonus thing they added? Do you know what I mean? Something that you could take out of the game and it wouldn't matter.
Oh, that's
like
easy.
secret bases or something.
Oh, that's super easy. Going back to Kanto.
That doesn't
in
count
Gold
either.
and Silver, that's
count,
totally a complete gimmick,
Jeff,
and that's the coolest thing ever.
But it's not a gimmick.
That was the second half of the game.
That's post-game content. That's all post-game.
No,
content.
it wasn't.
No, it's not because there's gyms.
There are gyms, but like
there's gyms, and then the final boss of the game is fighting Red on the Mount Silver. Post game in that was going and finding Mewtwo.
I mean, yeah, Mewtwo is part of the post game, I guess, but no, everything I consider post game to be everything after the credits roll, and the credits roll when you defeat the Elite Four. So
that's because they're crediting the people
then we'd have to consider that that's a really short game.
I mean, Gold and Silver is a full 8 dungeon run or a full 8 gym run.
But they're a lot closer to each other.
I mean, Johto is a smaller region, and it's funny because originally they had to make it smaller because they were running up on their size limits with 250 Pokemon. And then they turned to Satoru Iwata, and they said, hey, do you think that you can fix this? He was like, oh, you're compressing everything wrong. Went in for like a week, and he compressed all of Johto to the point where they could fit in the entire first game, no problem. But the Johto ended up being longer or ended up feeling about the same length just to get through that before you got to Kanto. Because the gyms were a lot more challenging. The
my god, I remember
the Miltank gym.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Roll out.
Whitney was a bitch.
Whitney is a bitch.
She's like the third gym leader too,
and she just kicks your ass.
But then again, that was nothing new for Pokemon because in the first Pokemon game in Kanto, Brock was really hard. Unless you started with Squirtle, but if you were like me and you started with fucking Pikachu in Pokemon Yellow,
Brock was the wall of you have to catch a different Pokemon to type advantage unless you start with Squirtle or Bulbasaur, and like if you start with Squirtle, you have an easy advantage against Brock. If you start with Bulbasaur, you have to grind a bit until you get Razor Leaf.
And if you're in Pokemon Yellow, you're fucked for a month until you learn how to fucking play the game.
That's why so many people got a Butterfree. Even though Butterfree was weaker, it was quicker, and you could use Confusion, and if it was power leveled enough, it could OHKO it.
But Butterfree gave you that advantage. There weren't really any like big type advantage Pokemon. I think you could catch like an Oddish before that.
Not in Yellow. In Yellow, you can get a Rattata.
No, Bellsprout. There's a Bellsprout before there.
Not in Yellow.
In Yellow, there is. I remember because Bellsprout was like the only way to beat Brock in Yellow.
Oh, you're right, because you could use
Razor Leaf.
No, not Scratch, Vine Whip. But yeah, Vine Whip.
Vine Whip. And there was a Bellsprout that you could catch around there, but I mean, the thing with Pokemon Red and Blue is that there was a Stonewall at some point, for every single...
I'm sorry, I've just looked it up. There is no Bellsprout before.
There's Rattata, there's Caterpie.
It must have been Caterpie.
And then
there's Caterpie, which
Pidgey,
eventually becomes the Butterfree.
And Spearow. Anyway,
okay,
I played Yellow a lot.
Yeah.
Yellow was the first one I got. So.
I remember there being something that you could do to fight Brock better.
Came up.
Oh, there was Nidoran. People got Nidoran and they used Double Kick.
Double Kick because you're fighting. Yeah. But yeah, Red and Blue had a Stonewall for every single starter. Yellow ended up being harder because Electricity only had a type advantage against Misty.
Yeah, so you got to breathe through the second one.
And the Stonewalls there were entirely intended for, you have been power leveling your starter too much, choose different Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, I had that problem when I played through Blue the first time. I got to Misty with my Squirtle, and I couldn't do shit. Because all of my moves were, like, not very effective against her, and she had Starmie with Psychic attacks, who just took me out. And, of course, if you get there with Charmander, you screwed.
Fucked.
Whereas Bulbasaur ends up being the easiest one because you don't get hard screwed until Blaine, at which point you definitely have other good Pokemon. You can't not.
You have to surf there. You've got a Water type by that point.
Yeah.
You've got to, and Surf is the only good HM move. So that's
Fly was good too, though.
You're pretty much built for it.
Yeah.
Fly could get you... Okay, I liked Fly because Fly could get you out of a situation.
Yeah.
So if someone was using one of the focus moves...
Yeah. Or Charge the Hyper Beam.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could get out of that situation and still get an attack in.
Yeah, and...
Or if you predicted a high jump kick.
Yeah, or if they used Dig,
and it would
too.
crash.
Or if they used Fly, you could use it after them.
Yeah, and Dig was great. Going back to HMs, I miss things like Dig that were, like, small advantage...
Because Dig wasn't an HM.
Yeah, Dig wasn't an HM.
Yeah.
And Teleport wasn't an HM. And if they did more with that, I think. And anyway... I
have another question.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
For everyone. It's kind of a broad question, but gameplay-wise, and we're not talking about anime or like anything like that, but within the games, what was your favorite region to play? You can start, my friend.
Yeah. Canipa, go.
See, there's so much that like comes into gameplay and so much that like completely.
Here, let me change the question.
Intrudes my decision.
We'll cut this question up. World-wise, what was your favorite region?
Like
in terms of like exploring the world. And but Sun and Moon doesn't count because we all fucking love.
Lolo's great. Yeah, you can't beat.
Yeah, naturally.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
It would have to be... Oh, I'm going to hate myself for saying this, but it's... Because I complained about it earlier, Sinnoh.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Yes, because Sinnoh was my favorite too.
Because Sinnoh always, had... Even though Mount Coronet was there, and I think it was a silly gimmick to have a big mountain be the centerpiece that you have to go through for everything, it always felt like an exploration. Every time you left an engine, that moment where you go in up to Lake Acuity or something, and it's through the snow, it genuinely felt like
a different
an adventure in itself. And that moment when they say, let's all split up and go to each of the lakes, and then you end up going to all of them anyway, just go finding ways through there and all of the different environments shown. And then there was the battle zone at the end, which was just quite a cool touch.
Yeah, no, that was my answer as well. Sinnoh was my favorite if we're talking about the actual region itself and not, the gym leaders or the Pokemon. If we're talking the actual region and what it has to offer, I definitely Sinnoh.
And you love that alternate dimension thing too.
Holy shit. Okay, Platinum is my all-time favorite game. So, oh god.
Yeah.
The fact they added that in was like, Yeah.
My answer is a little bit more. I'm split on this because on the one,
a little bit more wrong.
A little bit more wrong, I guess. I'm split because on the one hand,
what else is new?
I really like Johto a lot.
But remember, we're talking about the region itself, not...
And Johto is kind of cheating on the one hand because you can go to Kanto in those games.
Count, though.
But not counting that, there's a lot of very memorable moments of exploring that world, of like going past the unknown ruins, going through...
Where the Sudowoodo are.
Yeah, the Sudowoodo.
I think the remake of the Johto games really cemented it.
Yeah,
better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that remake really gives it its own feel. You were talking about the generic forest problem, but like the one forest that you go through around the bug dungeon, Celebi's Forest, feels like a legitimately different area from any forest that you got. It feels like a bamboo forest compared to the deciduous forests of Johto.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a sort of a temple area that woodcutters have gone through. Chasing the Farfetch'd around that area is very memorable. There's the first time that you go to the city where Whitney is, that city feels like I mean
the train station and stuff. Yeah,
that city really feels like a Japanese
city. The train
city.
station is genuinely a big part of
and
that.
the radio tower too.
Yeah.
Actually, was really well done.
And like, I mean, I was talking to you earlier about how it feels kind of nostalgic to be in Japan, see all these blocky buildings, and that city is why. Because a lot of the buildings in Japan that were built up in the 80s they
just didn't have doors.
Yeah, I mean, the didn't have doors thing is... I'm not...
But it's the fact that they're built up.
Yeah, it's the fact that they're built up and there's so many... Like, all of the buildings in Whitney City are tiled. Yeah. They have tiled outside, so it feels different from the box... Yeah, the boxy, slit-windowed things from the first game. And there's a lot of moments like that, like when you go past the beaches, but... In terms of differentiating each region, and bear in mind, I never made it through Sinnoh. I never made it through Black and White. I fell off a lot earlier than you guys did on the Pokemon train. Although I definitely enjoyed those more than X and Y. But Hoenn. Mm-hmm. Hoenn really hammered home every time you were going to a new environment through... making the weather change.
Yeah. I did like that.
Like,
yeah.
Flannery's area.
Well, first of all, she was the ultimate Pokemon babe.
The top waifu.
She was they put her in there, they're like, oh man, so many little boys gonna fucking love this girl.
Yeah.
They knew when they made her.
We're gonna give so many little kids their first confusing boner.
But like, for
this
real,
man. This man. But...
Relatable. Wait, what?
But yeah. And also, this girl. But, like, Flannery aside, that whole, like, volcano area, the ash falling around you as you're walking around, the footprints that you leave in the snow when you're walking through snowy areas, riding the different types of bikes, like having the...
Fuck those bikes.
Having the trick...
No, yeah,
The trick bikes, I mean, it was a pain...
I was on board for a moment there.
It was a pain in the ass changing those out.
For a moment, I wasn't going to bully you, but then you said the bikes.
It was a pain in the ass changing those out. I hated changing those out. But actually riding the trick bike around...
The hopping one?
The hopping one was cool.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, no.
It was...
When was it cool? When was it cool to hold down B and go, wow... Like... Honestly, when I was a kid, I used to bounce around on my bike.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool when I was a kid, okay? So, bear in mind, some of this is from when I was a kid. But all of that contributed to every region of that game feeling really different. And I remember diving into the sunken ship.
Oh, yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
but by the same token, I remember climbing the lighthouse in Pokemon Gold. I really remember the Gyarados Lake. Nobody forgets Gyarados Lake.
That brings me into my next question.
Mm-hmm.
Opinions on how easy it's become to get shinies and how common, I guess, they are, and how they've really pushed the shinies.
Look, everyone keeps fucking saying that, but
like compared to how it used to be. Because now there's actually
I've been playing Pokemon for so many years, and I have never caught a shiny in the world.
I haven't either.
That's the point. But now, have you actively been trying to chain them and stuff? Because if you follow the methods of chaining them...
Yeah, I've never understood...
Go ahead.
I've never put in the effort to, like, actively chain them.
Exactly, and they added that option in, and I don't like that, because I have... Maybe because I'm biased, maybe because in Silver, I came across a shiny. And that was the first time they introduced shinies. I came across a shiny Magnemite. And, like, I completely just, for real, came across it out of nowhere. I wasn't prepared for it. I didn't have any Pokeballs at the time, which made me really fucking mad. But that's the fun of it. And the fact that they make them so easily accessible now, I feel like gets rid of how special they used to be.
I think that was inevitable, that the internet... I think as soon as the internet existed, everything was discredited. Like, I cannot go into a battle online now without seeing some smug prick with 4 shinies.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah, they're like, cheap Pokemon have kind of undercut it, but to an even greater degree, I think that, like, it's a necessary change to shiny distribution because there's so many more Pokemon now than there were with Gold and Silver.
I feel like a better way of handling would have been to just up the shiny rate a bit more. Instead of just saying, fight the same Pokemon over and over again.
They can't because the shiny rate is tied to your trainer tag and their nature. So they would have to fundamentally change everything about how stats work to make shinies
might as well
rare.
just let you fight the same Pokemon over and over again.
Yeah. So they just, like, they let you chain them, they let you grind for the shiny that you want, which I think is fair, because we've gotten to a point where Route 1 has, like, 10 different species on it.
Thank God.
Which is great, but, like, you gotta remember back in Gold and Silver, every single route was, like, 5 to 10 max, you know? And it was possible to grind out, to find the same Pokemon over and over again. Whereas this game, it allows you to work for finding shinies of even the 1% chance encounters, you know? And I think that that's a beneficial thing to people who want to have shinies as a status symbol and who are willing to work for that.
I think the special days are kind of over.
Yeah. And on your comment about the internet, you are right. And I would totally admit, back when the action replay, I didn't understand how to use a Game Shark. I had a Game Shark, I didn't know how to use it. But when I finished Platinum, and I mean, like, I finished Platinum, like, I was fucking bored. I went out and got an action replay, and I had more fun with the game. And the action replay allowed you to do some stuff that really made shinies no longer special, because you could use Pokesav and create your own Pokemon. And all you create your own Pokemon and you fucking plug your action replay in.
By the way, Yazzie, you just got banned from competitive Pokemon forever.
I don't care. You can always tell that I made a fake Pokemon because I put the original trainer name as Penis. But I didn't do that. What? It was funny. And I wasn't creating these Pokemon to play online. I was making them obviously fake because I just wanted them in my collection. You know what I mean? I wanted to have fun fighting with them. You couldn't take them into Battle Tower even. But which is, I think, is fine as long as you're not trying to, like, make them seem legit and give them to people and fuck them over. But there was an option on there to make your Pokemon shiny, and I feel like as soon as that was an option, that kind of killed it.
Yeah.
Because in Sun and Moon, I offered up Mimikyu and asked for Ditto, and it was a level 1 just hatched Mimikyu, and someone trades me back in the global trading with a level 100 shiny Ditto. And I was like, this is legit. Which, I mean, on one hand, it doesn't bug me. It does bug me.
They've got so many that they need to...
Pardon?
Yeah. They've got so many shiny Dittos. They've just been massively lucky. And they maybe it's just a lovely donation.
And they got so bored they leveled it up to level 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Ditto is so useful in battle.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
Every competitive Pokemon composition uses Ditto.
Oh, totally.
Oh yeah, all the finals, it's Ditto versus Ditto. Ugh, quite tense.
But okay, so that I have a lot of opinions about shinies, but man, was there the action replay? I wish was. I mean, I guess I don't know how people do it now. Is there a easy way?
They hack their 3DSs.
Yes,
they hack their 3DSs.
But the thing is, the action replay was not something that would, you could go to Best Buy.
There's other ways, like you can. There's ways to get Pokemon in through the internet, as in like it would set up this like trade deal.
Oh yeah,
like, you can as if there's another character, and that will just send you Pokemon. It will just trigger it to send you the Pokemon that you've created online.
So you can use Wi-Fi to create a fake GTS server.
Okay.
And just connect through that and send fake Pokemon to yourself.
The thing is, the action replay allowed so much fun in the Pokemon games because there was an option, and I mean, I like I said, I didn't use it to do bad things. I did it because I finished Platinum and I loved it and I didn't want to stop playing.
Tell it to the cops.
Okay. Tell it to the internet police. But I mean, there was the action replay allowed you to do things like Mystery Gift, where you could do old mystery gifts that you missed or ones that weren't available in your country. I did a mystery gift to get Arceus. Because, or I don't know how you say his name. I don't know.
Arceus.
I don't fucking know.
Arceus.
It's all right.
But
Arceus.
And that's because the mystery gift was in the game, but they didn't end up
releasing it. Well, in Canada, we doubled down on that problem because nothing came to Canada.
But I mean, like they were waiting for the Darkrai movie to release him, but I was able to get him early because he was already in the game. And the action replay allowed you to do that. So you were allowed to get that mystery gift. And there's actually a challenge, and it was fun. It added a whole new challenge. And now it's just like, you can go online and send yourself Pokemon, but that's not...
I mean, they've kind of done a little better with the fact that you can download stuff now. Like, you can they can actually hold back Pokemon to be downloadable later. The one cool thing about X and Y is that it had surprise Pokemon that didn't show up for months. But, I mean, they had the problem of keeping... Yeah, but that's a great way to keep people engaged in a good game. Unfortunately, X and Y was a shit game, so nobody stayed engaged. But, yeah, let's bring this back to Sun and Moon. Would you guys say, like, overall... I haven't watched the Pokemon anime in a long-ass time.
I have, because I'm a child stuck in an adult body.
You never stopped.
No, me neither.
I had breaks, but then I would have like a couple of years break. But then when I get back into it, I'd watch all of the previous stuff.
That's what I did. As soon as there was a movie that interested me, I would watch that movie and then I'd go back and watch everything leading up to it so I could know what was going on. So that has kept me... Because I feel like every couple seasons there's a movie that interests me. So...
And you have to get caught up on everything.
Because it doesn't make sense.
So how do you guys feel about the soft reboot-ish thing that they've done with Sun and Moon?
What do you mean?
But they do that all the time. Honestly, the reboot this time has been even softer than usual.
Yeah, they frequently give Ash amnesia and just...
Yeah, like, they are very, very willing this season to let Ash know things. So, for instance, in the first episode, he gets run down by a load of Tauros. He goes, "Oh, it's fine. I'm used to dealing with Tauros." Because he once caught a whole herd of them. Yeah, and then which is when the best appeared. Then
that was the best moment of the original series.
I'll fight you on that.
I loved Ash's Tauros. And
Island of the Giant Pokemon, come on.
Island of the Giant Pokemon was pretty good too.
Every time Charizard fucked him over, come on. Charizard
you
was
like
so fucking
you
sad.
like your tsundere bad boys.
I do. What can I say?
But
I can't believe people are complaining about the XY League when that was the end of the original Indigo Plateau.
Yeah. Okay. I have a couple more questions for everybody. They're not as exciting.
Are these pre-planned or
no? She's
I'm just coming up with
She's just
questions.
getting lit.
I like to hear people's opinions on things, and I feel like if we actually have questions, that is going to make it. Because I have things I want to ask both of you that I'm curious about because I don't get to talk to people about Pokemon. But here's a question, a very personal question, I guess. If you were a gym leader, what would your type be? What would your gym be?
Psychic type.
You think
Easy.
psychic for you?
I would go psychic type. No, psychic types are the coolest. Maybe. Can you dual type?
No.
They've never dual type gyms.
Not specifically. Do you know what I mean? They've never been like, oh, this is a dual type gym. It's like, oh yeah, some of their Pokemon like Misty, Starmie.
Yeah.
You know, they have.
Yeah. So I'd be mostly psychic and maybe have some psychic ghosts.
Understandable. I'd be normal because my favorite Pokemon is Porygon Z.
Oh god.
No. I love Porygon Z. I absolutely love him. He's also one of the only 2 Pokemon that have never been seen in the Pokemon anime. And that's Porygon 2 and Porygon Z.
Well, that's because of certain reasons related to Porygon.
Yeah, it wasn't even Porygon's fault, but they're still banned. He's still got a lifetime ban from the anime.
But so do Tentacool and Tentacruel.
Oh,
Their episode where they're destroying the city after 9/11 was removed.
Yeah.
They're no longer allowed to show that episode.
But Tentacool
they've
and Tentacruel show up again.
Like in the background.
They do. I'm saying they didn't get their episode. But
I mean, Drifloon is a child molester, and he keeps showing up.
My gym would definitely be Electric Gym. It's hard for me to not have a full team of electric Pokemon every time I play. They all just appeal to me the most. I fucking idolized Lieutenant Surge when I was a kid. Volkner was my hero. I've always loved the electric gym leaders. So
we've gotten to a point where with Sun and Moon, you could have a full team of electric Pokemon and not be screwing yourself over.
Yeah, but variety is still,
because you got electric psychic with Raichu, you got electric steel, which is a pretty strong typing with.
Got electric ghost now.
Electric ghost, yeah. Which, oh god, no. Sorry, you do have electric bug. You just need a way of negating the ground type weakness, which I believe there's an electric ground type. Or something.
Yeah, it's Stunfisk.
Yes,
it's famously useless.
Yes.
Famously useless. Okay.
Okay, so my other question.
I
almost forgot it, but I got it back.
But you have. Yeah.
It's okay. Favorite villain team, favorite bad guy team in any of the games?
Skull. Team Skull.
Okay, well, no, we're not counting Sun and Moon because everything about Sun and Moon is perfect. So, not counting Sun and Moon because everybody's in love with Team Skull right now.
Okay.
Going back in time.
Post breakdown Team Rocket from the Gold and Silver.
From like Fire and Red and Gold and Silver.
Yeah.
Because they had a breakdown scene in there.
Yeah, but when they're trying to reclaim their throne.
Slowpoke Tails.
After Red, the Slowpoke Tails Team Rocket, the disorganized Giovanni-less Team Rocket of Gold and Silver, because that's the one time that I felt like I had a real impact on something in the Pokemon universe,
I think for me, it is Team Plasma, but not from Black and White, but Black and White 2. The Team Plasma that most people hate because it took away the motivations of the first one, which I thought were just dumb. They never had much conviction in the first game in the first place. But I fucking love pirates.
pirates are cool. I mean, like, the idea of the bad guys of a Pokemon game being PETA is kind of funny, but, like, they have to use Pokemon to fight you, so...
Yeah, it never made much sense. It never had any conviction, and I was never fooled by it. I never thought that, oh, maybe they're the good guys. It was, yeah. But the second one, and with Colress is genuinely a great villain because he doesn't care about world domination. He doesn't care about saving the world. All he cares about is basically what every person in every Pokemon tournament wants, which is get the strongest Pokemon.
Yeah.
And it's not even like catch a massive legendary, it's just EV train.
I miss Giovanni being just a mafia leader.
Yeah. My favorite team was, I mean, not surprising at all, was Team Galactic. Specifically, I just thought Cyrus was a very well done character. I'm not huge in the team themselves were, I mean, they kind of went hard, so I liked them.
Yeah.
They were also, like, fucking destroying the world, but actually, for real, destroying the world.
Yeah.
And the fact that Cyrus in Platinum kind of fucks up so bad when he goes after Giratina, I thought that was so cool. They actually, like, man, they fucked him.
Yeah.
Like, that was good. It wasn't just like, oh, I fought him and now he's lost... You know, now the team, the whole group is lost power and stuff. It was like, man, this man went off the fucking deep end. And now I'm in another dimension.
Yeah.
And he still fucks himself. Like, you try to stop him, and he's still like, nah, Giratina, come to me. And it's great.
But yeah, I
thought they were the best, the most engaging and most exciting, I think.
I think that they definitely have a much, much better story arc than, say, Magma and Aqua, which they suck. And teaming up with one of the teams to stop the other team is such a dumb idea because they're all assholes.
Because they
like that's why I love Team Skull so much, because like they're just a bunch of dumb idiots who want to be Team Rocket and are bad at it. And I love that. I love that about Team Skull. They're such great... The one who raps at you all the time...
The one that's always squatting. I've already made that clear. The one who's always squatting is my favorite. He's always talking about...
Yeah.
He's saying, oh man, I'm not good at squats. My legs hurt. And like, because they're all like squatting in the corner. And he's like, oh, I'm not strong enough for squats. And like, he like progresses through. As you see him later, he's squats don't bug him as much. And I'm like, I'm proud of you, dude. I'm proud of you. Eat that protein.
And they're just grunts, right? They don't have names, but you remember their personalities.
Because of ongoing themes like the rapping one. And
that's a new thing to Pokemon. I wish that they dubbed them better.
Yeah, the dub has problems. The dub also doesn't work with the gags that...
The professor's Pokemon gags?
No, it's not. Well, the professor's work okay, but it's Oak's cousin.
Yeah, Oak's the professor.
Well, he's not the... he's
his
the
Pokemon
teacher.
Yeah.
His Pokemon gags do not work in English. Yeah. And, like, I can tell where they were trying to go with it.
Yeah.
I can probably guess the Japanese gag when he says it, but it just doesn't work in English. Oh, man.
Yeah.
That there's some problems with the dub of Sun and Moon.
Like, I am entirely willing to just not get the joke.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want it to be replaced. I just want, just don't tell me. Just do your joke in Japanese. I'll stand over here and I'll come back when you're done.
Yeah. And that's, but with the dub, they have to use the new Pokemon names for, it's just kind of lame. And the dub is otherwise serviceable.
Yeah, I mean, the Pokemon dubs, again, have never been mind-blowing.
I just hate that that they went for the New York Italian mobster voices for Team Skull.
Oh, yeah.
When they should be like, yo, what's up? Toss out your Magnemite. I'll take you down, bitch.
They should be like high school gangsta kids. The ones who think that they're, like, real tough. Mm-hmm. And in reality, they go home and make some dinner. Like...
In my head, I'm thinking London gangster.
Mm-hmm.
In my head, regardless of how they actually sound, I'm thinking London Rioters. I'm thinking EDL. I'm thinking the worst of England.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that would be a good way to go with it. Just like, oh, you want to go, mate? You want to fucking go?
Exactly.
I'll take you on. I got my swallow. I'll toss my swallow at your face. You want to fuck it? Bring it on, bruv. Bring it on.
I swear on me mum.
I swear on me mum.
I've heard some bad English accents in my life, but that actually wasn't awful.
You call me bad at being from Britain, mate. I'll take you fucking down, mate. I'll take you fucking down. I swear on me mum, I'll take you fucking down. It's
getting worse.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Okay. Quit whilst your head.
Yeah. Now we gotta move into our weeks.
Yes. It's been about an hour and a half of talking about
Pokemon.
What we care about in Pokemon now.
Actually, can I just make one last Pokemon point?
Yes, of course. Go right ahead.
It was something, because I don't want to be arguing in comments. Because people are naturally going to bring up the story, how it's just got Ash in school. But I think you made a brilliant point earlier. How about each island feels distinct, and and on the first island you always feel like you're close to home. I think as soon that the Pokemon anime is going to take a lot of advantage of that, to the point that when they do go to a new island, it's going to genuinely suddenly crash. Here's the adventure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that works into sort of drawing out the best story arc that they've done in a Pokemon movie, which was Pokemon 2000.
It's going to allow them the most episodes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because
they
can go for it. But, I mean, Pokemon 2000, to me, had the best story because it had that, like, jumping from island to island, like, a clear...
Yeah, all three legendary Pokemon felt like a different story.
And expanding that out to a whole series of, on TV, I think is a great idea. So I'm excited for those changes. And honestly, it's kind of cool. Like, in most contexts, high school has been done to death. I hate high school in anime. But, like, seeing a school in the Pokemon...
high school, yeah.
Seeing a school in the Pokemon world is...
The show specifically, the game is made for, I feel like, all ages, but the show is not made for 20-year-olds to watch.
Yeah.
It's for kids who are in school.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really a huge advantage for them, I think, to have something that's so relatable in a world that's not relatable at all.
And I think there's also an appeal to, like... I mean, yeah, there's an appeal of going on your own adventure and doing whatever, like Ash does in Pokemon. But I think there's a bigger appeal to, like, okay, so I can live my life, this my day-to-day school life, and hang out with my friends and do all this stuff and still go on cool adventures, you know? I think that's really appealing to kids.
And yeah, the anime is not made for it's not going to be airing at a time when, you know, adults can be watching it. It's made for kids.
Mm-hmm.
So to keep a kid theme like school in there, and to make it a major thing, a major focus of the anime, makes complete sense.
That makes sense to me too. Yeah. It may not be made for adults though.
I mean,
but it has one thing that's going to appeal to adults.
Mr. Mime?
No, the toppest of tier of waifus.
Oh, what, the professor's wife?
Yeah. Oh, the professor's wife is top tier waifu. But also, okay, I'm going to end up on a list for this. But what's her name? The green one.
Mallow.
Mm-hmm.
Mallow, that's her name, I think.
Yeah. She a good waifu.
Yeah, she a good wife. Everyone waifu'd her ages ago.
Everyone waifu'd her ages ago, but she a Genki girl. She a good Genki girl. And all of the girls around Ash, for the first time in what feels like forever to me, are actually like decent waifus for young kids to crush on, at least.
Back to the anime being relatable. I feel like they used to do that too. Is to make it relatable. Ash used to call his mom all the time.
Yeah.
Ash used to update his mom every city.
And now he's doing that again.
Yeah. And like now that was a relatable thing for kids. Updating your parents with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like having your parents still kind of
a good message as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they kind of got away from that, which is, I mean, whatever. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But to bring it back also makes sense to me because when you think about it, it's driving home a point that kids have to deal with too. You know, kids got to go to school. Kids got to keep their parents updated and have their parents keeping an eye on what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know, it makes it more relatable for kids, and people keep forgetting that the show's not for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not made for
also,
a nostalgic crowd. Go ahead,
Yeah. And the Professor Kakui, I think his name is, he is a genuine father figure to Ash. And it kind of like even when he's not going back and calling us mum, he's still got roots
like
in this adventure. Yeah, he's always got a home to go back to. He's got a parent figure there, and he's got Iwanko, the dog, who always greets him when he goes home.
Yeah,
like it. Yeah, it's the closest we've had to seeing Ash at home, then going out on adventures, and then coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
like... But that's what makes it relatable.
He's not on summer vacation anymore. He's just living his life. Like...
Yeah.
Like...
He's at a holiday home.
They're also closing that gap of, like, what the fuck does Ash do at night?
Yeah.
Where does this man sleep?
And maybe he'll grow up at some point by a year? Nah. But, yeah. The one other... last small thing that I wanted to say, bringing back to, I think they're trying to give this a more global appeal in a smart way as opposed to just setting it in New York City in black and white, is if you look at the commercials and stuff, a lot of them show like this island community, like the Japanese commercials explicitly show this island community with lots of white kids and brown kids and Asian kids all playing Pokemon together, and it's part of their day-to-day lives.
Yeah, that's a good point. Honestly, for real though, yeah, you're right. They made it more. They're definitely trying to get back to the popularity it had during the Kanto days. Because during the Kanto days, everybody knew the name Pokemon.
Yeah, and
now my mom doesn't know anything about Pokemon.
And everyone played Pokemon too.
Yeah,
and I think
they had stage plays in Canada. Like, holy shit!
I think a few things lit a fire under their ass. Part of it is Yokai Watch was so production value wise superior to even X and Y.
Yeah.
Another big thing is that Pokemon wasn't the dominant media franchise anymore because Pokemon ruled the world for
all of Kanto and Johto.
All of Kanto and Johto and Hoenn. Like, Pokemon was still the dominant children's series up through Hoenn.
Yeah, you still saw kids wearing Pokemon shirts all the time. And,
yeah.
I mean, it got so unpopular in the West that they closed the Pokemon Center in New York.
Yeah.
Like,
that's a huge blow. And they've come back with this solution of, we're bringing this back to something you can do in your day-to-day life. We're bringing back the international appeal of this without trying to make it appeal to everybody like the ultra sanitized X and Y. And they're also, I think, a little bit inspired by the success of Pokemon Go, which...
Oh, hey! On that topic, Pokemon Go is adding Johto Pokemon.
Oh, of course.
I mean, like, soon.
Oh,
like,
I might actually start playing it again.
Yeah, I just re-downloaded it, like, during this podcast.
Yeah.
Because I was reading updates on Cerebi just to see what's been going on in the Pokemon world.
I will get on that if I can get a Totodile.
The next update is going to be... first of all, they're adding 10,500 Pokestops and gyms across the U.S. Oh, sorry, guys. But this Monday is when the update is. December 12th is when they're updating, and it's presumed the edition is going to be Johto Pokemon.
Those Pokestops will probably be in rural areas in order to make it more playable for people who don't live in big cities. But yeah, I think that Pokemon Go provides a bit of a roadmap for what made Pokemon so good for kids in the first place.
Yeah,
which
Pokemon Go was an international success, like a real international success. I had emails at my store that I worked at the time.
Yeah.
Which was, I mean, I worked at a fabric store, and we got emails saying make a Pokemon display, have some incentive for people to come inside and play Pokemon Go inside the stores.
Yeah,
like that was a corporate message to us saying Pokemon Go, like from some 40-year-old man who was like, holy crap, Pokemon Go is popular, set up a Pokemon display and sent me a picture of it. Like, that's how big Pokemon Go got internationally.
Pokemon Go is the first video game in like ages that has had like a marked, like a noticeable public presence that you can see. Yeah. You know, like among the
normies.
Somebody says Charizard, you can watch people migrate, or you could, because it's kind of over now. And I mean, Niantic killed that on their own, but what they did is they provided that roadmap of what the core appeal of the Pokemon experience is that other games don't hit, which is that Pokemon is social.
Yeah, and that Pokemon can still be a name among people who aren't into anime and aren't into games. Like, it's not something that... It was a niche thing for a while.
Yeah.
Pokemon became a thing not that parents would think to go buy their kids.
It was a thing that nerds did in college because they were nostalgic for the old Pokemon games.
And they're finally, I think, with Sun and Moon, bringing it back to being...
something people want.
Yeah, something you hear about on TV, something you hear about... I mean, parents see it in a flyer and they go, oh, I've heard of this, I'm going to get it for my
something
kid.
Fox Kids warns you, or Fox TV warns you that child molesters could reach your children through.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's a social experience again, and it hasn't been for a long time. But there's finally this marked thing of kids can play Pokemon on the schoolyard again and trade with each other, and it feels like there's a reason to do that. Anyway, we tried to what.
Let's hear about your week first, dude.
Yeah, we should hear about your week. We tried to break away from this. Tell us what you've done this week, Canipa, please.
Genuinely not much.
Nice.
I wrote a article for Anime News Network that went up this morning, which will be a couple of days ago by the time this is out.
Mm-hmm.
It is about the evolution of the Pokemon anime and how the production has dealt with change and tried to evolve it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all cool. And I'm currently working on writing the second part of my Mob Psycho breakdown video, which will take on the animators that really made it work, including some people that I genuinely wasn't even aware of existed, who ended up creating incredible moments within the show.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Is it?
I'm looking forward to that.
I don't know your Crunchyroll skills, but
yeah, I am looking forward to seeing that. Genuinely, I really enjoyed your first Mob Psycho video.
Thanks.
And
those videos are a pain though, like genuinely like a massive pain because there's no way to properly structure them.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've
rewritten it 3 times.
My structure is I talk until I'm done. I've got a 30-minute video about Sword Art Online coming out in the near future. Going back to the well, because why wouldn't I?
Yep.
But yeah, our week has been a lot of seeing Japan.
More interesting things.
We went on the topic of Pokemon. We went to the Pokemon Center inside of the Skytree.
Yeah,
which
that was pretty cool.
That was my first time ever getting to go to a Pokemon store.
Yeah,
that's one been on like my list since they opened the one in New York. I've been, when I was a kid, and
yeah,
that was like holy crap! I got to finally go to the Pokemon Center.
I finally got to go to the Pokemon Center too.
Was it actually called the Pokemon Center?
Yeah. It's it's not the Pokemon Center.
That's what they call all their stores.
We tried to hit the Mega Center tonight,
but we
missed it by like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But
the one in the Skytree was really cool.
They had this Rayquaza breaking out of the ceiling, and then a dark Rayquaza on the other side
where the checkout was.
Yeah.
And they had a whole wall of
amazing.
just the new starters in different sizes of plushies. They had all the Ditto plushies. I mean, it is just a store when you think about it, and it was mostly just plushies, and keychains and stuff.
So we gotta go to Sapporo.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so they had the one coolest thing that they had there was they had these traditional woodcut carved Pokemon statuettes. One of which was a Rowlet, and one of which was a bear eating a Magikarp.
What's the bear Pokemon? I can't. Ursaring.
Ursaring. An Ursaring eating a Magikarp in like traditional Japanese style, and you can only get those at Poke Center Sapporo. But they had them on display, and I want it so bad.
It's a play on how the bear carvings are really popular in Sapporo.
Yeah.
Of the bears scooping up the fish.
Mm-hmm.
Those wood carvings are really popular, and that was kind of a play on that. They have the bear Pokemon scooping up the Magikarp.
And it like these were things that I'd actually put in my house and not be like, I'd actually put regular Pokemon figures in my house because I'm a huge weeb, but that's like an art piece that you could talk about, you know?
Yeah. But besides that...
Yeah, it's got a story to it.
Yeah. An Ursaring and a Magikarp. It's just been going around Japan, you know?
Yeah,
we'll have a whole thing about that, so...
We're going to have a whole vlog about our trip to Tokyo, but in brief, we hit we hit some really cool stuff. We've spent a lot of time in Akihabara, obviously.
Of course.
We went to a festival for Persona.
Yeah, Persona Fest. We've been to the Gundam Cafe.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the 20th anniversary. Which
you went to a Persona festival?
Yeah, the 20th anniversary Persona Festival. It's only going for 10 days.
I fucking hate you.
That's why we came here.
We have a whole video of it. We broke the rules like true Americans.
Yeah, we taped everything.
There was no videos allowed in any room.
So we've got exclusive footage. I think we did the math, and like only something like 3,200 to 4,000 people in the world get to go to this thing, right? So,
look for that video.
Yeah, so that was really cool.
We had the Gundam Cafe. What else have we done? We saw that we couldn't eat at it, but we went to the Final Fantasy, the Square Enix Cafe.
The Square Enix Cafe.
We did the Capcom bar.
We ate at the Capcom bar, which was really, really good food. Surprisingly good food.
Yeah.
And we've just been going around to arcades, dropping lots of money on
stupid shit,
on figurines. We spent like $30 on claw machines.
Hell yeah! They're UFO machines.
UFO machines.
You're fucking uncultured.
We bought figurines. I bought the entire Legend of Heroes series. I bought some hentai manga.
When in Rome, you know.
Because when in Rome, you bought some hentai manga
Hell
too.
yeah, of course. It was like 300 yen.
Yep.
Nice titties.
Yuri on Ice Homos.
It's been good.
Galar Homos from IBO. She like her yaoi a lot.
I am a shameless human being.
But yeah, it's just been great. It's been a great shopping trip.
Question o'clock.
And
it is question o'clock?
Yeah, it's almost question o'clock. I just want to say that we're going to Gundam Front Tokyo tomorrow.
Yes, we were supposed to go to Gundam Front Tokyo a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, sometimes you get sleepy.
Sometimes you get
Sometimes
sleepy.
It's hard to get your girlfriend out of bed. I mean, none of that happens here.
I will carry you to Gundam Front tomorrow.
Someone in this apartment has a hard time getting out of bed.
And it's you.
Oh, yeah, it's me.
And we're going to Disneyland also for the last 2 days.
Of course.
All right. Now it's time to open up the mailbag.
Wait, there's a Yokai Watch exhibit at Disneyland. Please.
At Tokyo, at Disneyland or Disney Sea?
Yes.
Okay, so we have to go to Disneyland for at least a couple hours tomorrow. We have to cut that short a little bit, but yeah. So now we got a whole bunch of questions from the Peanut Gallery. Some related to Pokemon, some not.
What's the Pokemon?
Yeah. All right. So Trey Allen asked, "Bet you'd seen the last of me."
You've seen the last of me.
Oh, by the way, you can shoot these messages to weeklyweebcast@gmail.com. And yeah, these people all sent those to that.
I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it.
No. Let me. Okay.
Fine.
Trey Allen asks, "Dear Weekly Weebcast, we've all asked your opinions on best blank, but we want to hear about some of the worst. I mean, like, utter trash. Things you regret even knowing about. So in saying that, here's my question. What's the worst manga to anime adaptation you've ever seen, and why does it rustle your jimmies so badly?
Oh, man. Do you have one you want to say first? Because I have a lot. And I gotta pick one.
What was the second half of that question?
What is the worst manga to anime adaptation you've ever seen, and what does it do that rustles your jimmies so badly?
That just means it's a bad anime, and I wouldn't have seen it.
But I mean, something maybe you were a fan of the manga, and you were like, "Fuck," you know? For me, Orange is up there. Sure. Mm-hmm. Orange was a beautiful manga, and the anime was
garbage. It was mediocre. The anime was mediocre.
I watched the live action film.
Oh yeah.
For that on my way back from the States, and I absolutely loved the film, and then saw the anime, and it's not great. The director Hiroshi Himazaki just fucking hates color, and it drains all the interesting parts of that show.
Mm-hmm.
I personally have not watched Tokyo Ghoul, but I've heard a lot of people say the adaptation of Tokyo Ghoul was a fucking letdown.
I can see that. I mean, I haven't watched or read Tokyo Ghoul.
That's just what I've heard about. Same with Parasite.
No, I think Parasite honestly improved on the manga in a lot of ways. I think that the worst parts of that show were parts where it was too close to the manga.
Mm-hmm.
Like the ultra preachy environmental message at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of...
Denpa Kyoshi for me. I think the translation is like Ultimate Otaku Teacher. I genuinely really liked that manga, but what they ended up doing is they create... That's it. The biggest problem with adaptation is when they try and do it like one-to-one, and they don't make enough changes to suit the medium, to the point that it's just reliving the same thing, but with no creative voice, and it was genuinely depressing to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, God. I'm trying to think what really, really upset me.
The original Full Metal Alchemist anime? Yeah. The original Full Metal Alchemist anime made me want to kill myself.
I don't know. I think that they did...
Granted, the anime wasn't over yet.
The
manga wasn't over yet.
I think that's an example of them doing the best that they could without going into, like,
and by the best
endless
they could,
filler.
they just did the worst fucking story they could think of.
I disagree. I think that Full Metal Alchemist, the anime, has a lot of really good points to it.
I don't.
I think that they handled a lot of stuff that they adapted better than Brotherhood did. Like Show Tucker.
It's Shao, you...
No, it's not.
I know.
It's not.
I'm just trying to find a way to one-up you. This is what I do. Tucker was handled amazingly in Brotherhood.
It went by too quickly. I thought that there wasn't enough build-up to it.
Oh, you mean... I mean, yes and no. Obviously, the stuff that was a repeat, they had to rush through.
Yeah. Yeah, Nina Tucker. I'm not talking about... obviously, Brotherhood handled Hughes way better. But it didn't quite have the same build-up of meeting his wife and daughter so many times, and you didn't really get to see the Elrics, staying at his place and stuff.
That wasn't the point of the story. The point of Brotherhood was to pick up where they fucked up.
The point of Brotherhood was to pick up where they fucked up. And I don't think they fucked up that badly with the original anime. I think they did the best they could.
I don't think it's fucked up at all. I think it's just... That's where they had to end it, and...
Yeah.
It was like this genuinely some really exciting scenes in the first season, in the first attempt. I don't know what you call that.
Yeah, original Brotherhood. Original Fullmetal Alchemist. Also, for me, I know it's not a manga to anime adaptation, but basically any otome game that they turn into an anime, it never works.
Of course,
they need to stop trying that.
Yeah, I mean, if we go into games, obviously I'm going to say Phoenix Wright.
Yeah, that too.
But games is cheating because there's never...
There's loads.
Games is cheating because there's almost never been a good game to anime adaptation.
Difficult.
Okay, Yazzie wants to read.
I'm gonna read a question because fuck you. Because I'm important, not you. Okay, so Turco Bandito. I like your name. I hope that's your real name.
Turco Bandito.
When I was younger, I had a challenge with one of my friends of playing and finishing Pokemon White at the same time. Then we battled with both of our teams. I have very fond memories of that battle because I defeated after a very tense battle thanks to my Swoobat. My question is...
Does this have a question?
Yes, my question is, did you do anything like that? If so, could you tell us how it went? If you didn't do this, did you have any Pokemon in the games that, although it wasn't the best technically, had completely pulled through all the shit you had to battle and was a total bro?
Mm.
Your ride or die Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yes, I always had one in each game who was like unswitchable. And gosh, okay, I'm a bad person, but for me for a long time it was my Shaman. I had a Shaman because I used an action replay. And that Shaman never left my party. Mm-hmm. He also never left his cute little hedgehog form. But I feel like I've always had like an alpha tier Pokemon. You know? One that pulls through everything for you.
That you just like...
Yeah.
The one you can always count on. Who's always, like, even if they're weak against something, they'll still pull through, you know? They'll still kick ass.
Yeah. I had... because I love Porygon Z. I absolutely love him. And I have... whenever I've made, like, a team to do in a local competition or online or anything, I always have a Porygon Z there. I stick a normal gem on him. And what I do is I just... use a hyper beam on whatever wall they've got, and Porygon Z. Nobody uses Porygon Z, and especially nobody ever uses Porygon Z with a hyper beam.
Yeah, I mean, no one really knows how to handle.
It's the most satisfying feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is genuinely heartwarming to watch a small child be absolutely devastated because my guy used Hyper Beam and not Tri Attack. And, any Pokemon that makes children cry is a Pokemon that's on my team.
Mm-hmm. I usually always try to put forth an effort to get a Raichu as early as possible too, and usually take that Raichu through the whole game with me. Right now, I'm trying to make Mimikyu my bro Pokemon. Because I think Mimikyu's an amazing...
Mimikyu's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's just a great Pokemon, so I've been trying to... Because usually as I play, as you catch stronger Pokemon, you do ditch some of them.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to...
Mimikyu's fantastic in the anime.
It is. It's hard, though, because Mimikyu doesn't evolve. So there's nothing to... You know?
It's all really strong.
Yeah, there's nothing to move toward. It's not like, I'm trying to evolve him into...
But Mimikyu is one of those ones that stays strong.
Kamala, but... Yeah.
Mimikyu...
Kamala, which is my country's Pokemon. Like, that's the exact same situation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I usually don't really, like...
Have any loyalty?
I don't have any loyalty to, like, a specific Pokemon. But again, it's been a long time since I've played through a Pokemon game all the way through. Sure. I remember when I was a kid that I would always put, once I got Snorlax, I'd put him in my team and he would never leave.
Yeah. So.
And Sudowoodo, same deal. And I mean, I know for some people, like, it feels like there's those aren't so special because everyone gets them. I mean, Snorlax to a lesser degree, you only get 4 chances to catch Snorlax, right? Sudowoodo is kind of a gimme, kind of not. Because
you fuck up, catch you kill him, you're done.
He's the one.
Done.
He's the one in the whole game. But at the same time, like, you're prepared for that battle. You're always prepared for that battle. So most people get that one just to add to their collection. But I don't know. I really like having those because having that little bit of extra story behind the Pokemon that you have makes it more valuable to me. You know, like having that connection. That's something that's something I love about Yokai Watch that Pokemon doesn't really do yet. Like, I mean, Sun and Moon tries to give you that connection. X and Y did the wrong thing by just giving you Pokemon every 10 minutes. But I love in Yokai Watch that, like, every yokai that you catch is like this guy who you have to befriend, SMT style, and who's been causing problems for other people around you. You know, there's like that little bit of the redemption arc for your yokai. And I don't know. That's kind of how I get attached to Pokemon. Anyway, I'm gonna ask. This one's a long one. I'm unfortunately gonna cut off most of the end point.
Cut their name as well. Might as well.
So Liam Ferguson asked like 4 paragraphs. But his question's in the first 2 paragraphs, so Liam, I'm sorry, I'm not going to really go into your full explanation. Greetings, otaku of ceremony. Pokemon has long been known as the premier, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, turn-based RPG series. However, there has been a call for the series to make the transition to a more action-based format for years now. As much as I'm enjoying Moon, I share this sentiment wholeheartedly, therefore I must inquire, do you or do you not believe that a full action RPG is a good fit for the Pokemon series as a side game, of course, and what kind of design choices would you like to see in such a game?
No, Liam. No, that's a stupid idea, Liam.
I think Pokemon's too big now.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Joke aside, apologies to Liam, people who went into Pokemon on the basis of it being a turn-based RPG.
Yeah.
Like, and of course there's the smaller spin-offs, and I wouldn't be totally against like a small action-based game, but RPG, like
Pokken Tournament exists, though. Yeah. That's what I'd go for as a Pokemon fighting game, and it exists, and it's pretty good.
Yeah. I don't need like an action RPG where I'm like a Lucario beating up Machamps across the hills.
I see how it could be fun, but I just don't think it would work. It could be a fun mini game. It would be Pokemon.
Thing.
The simulation aspect of Pokemon is a lot of the appeal of it. You know, so if they went for that, I don't think a direct control action RPG would necessarily work super well. But I do think that if Pokemon became an MMO, calling out your attacks in real time and having to worry a little bit about the timing of, okay, now dodge, okay, now use your attack, and like that delay of commands. Kick the table again, I'm a horrible person. That sort of like you are interacting with another creature that's not you thing, you could play that up more in real time by having like your character run around and issue
a bit like
orders.
Active time battle in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, active time battle would be a good way of doing it. Or you know what, I've just defeated my own point of view, because the best way of doing that would be Chrono Trigger. You know, just Chrono Trigger system where they're moving around constantly. Like, I feel like...
Or you could just play Chrono Trigger. I don't see why there's the need to, like, put Pokemon into all these other contexts. It's like...
Yeah.
There's the other games. They exist. You don't need everything to be Pokemon. Because when there's already good examples.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree that it's not necessary. I just think... If they made a Pokemon MMO, it would have to be real time. You can't do a turn-based MMO, really.
It's genuinely impossible.
Yeah, because you have to sync...
genuinely impossible to be fun.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. So you have to have real-time combat in an MMO. So, yeah, I just think the best way of doing that would be sort of like an active time system. Obviously they're never going to make a Pokemon MMO because as much as Nintendo wants to change...
Stupid idea.
Yeah. But yeah. So, no action MMOs.
Yeah. Point is, Liam, you're wrong.
Yeah, Liam, you are wrong. And that's... that's... I don't know. Like, when I was a kid, I thought that would be cool. But when I was a kid, I had no taste.
I did as well. Like, you always had like that image in your heads of like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if it was like this other game that I like, and that was the whole thing. It was always me comparing it to a game that I liked and going, I wish this was like that, when in reality I just liked both games, but for some reason needed them to be one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
whilst two games works just fine.
Yeah, I agree there. I think that having two games forces people to socialize, or forces people to buy two games, which is the cynical aspect of it. But the one thing to that is that because Yokai Watch is more story-driven, that's preventing me from wanting to get Yokai Watch 2. Because I've had problems before with... you remember Mega Man Battle Network?
Yeah. I never played it, but I do remember it.
So Mega Man Battle Network went to versions, like having red and white version, with like game 5 of the series. And there was no substantial reason to trade between them. It was just like a gimmick to get more money. And by the same token, like it creates like a lot of repetition and grind. Like even the Oracle's games, on the Legend of Zelda, Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons games. Fantastic games. They do different versions better than I think anything else that does it, because they're completely different games. But there's so much grinding that you have to do in order to complete those games, and it's not the kind of thing where there's a value to not having both. That's a weird way of putting it. With Oracles, you have to play both games, or you're not getting the full experience. With Pokemon, if you play Moon, you're getting 90% of that experience, and trading with Sun will get you the rest of it. You don't have to get both versions.
Just the Sun is up.
Mm-hmm. And I think to an extent that the third games, when they were doing those, Yellow up through Diamond, that are like up through Platinum, that are the that are the definitive versions. I think that those kind of take away a little bit of the social experience of playing Pokemon. Because, you kind of have to trade with people if you have Crystal, but I don't know, Crystal's just objectively superior to Gold and Silver in a lot of ways.
Yeah, all of them are.
Yeah.
Emerald is better than Sapphire, and
Platinum is 1,000,000 times better than Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah.
I
brought in the Battle Frontier.
Diamond and Pearl, I would go so far as to say, were not really good games. It was the stuff that they added for Platinum.
In comparison.
Yeah, it was the stuff that they added for Platinum that made those games really fun.
Yeah, including Winter Coats, which I never knew I wanted out of a game, but now I do.
Yeah. And yeah, I kind of wish that they had just had that level of content from the beginning and put it out. But obviously, the stuff that they did in Crystal, the stuff that they did in Emerald, the stuff that they did in Platinum was stuff that they needed extra time for. And that I can kind of forgive it, but it takes away from, for me, it takes away from the experience of your first of somebody else having a different version from you that's equal, but that you don't have to get to enjoy the full thing, you know? Like, there's once Crystal came out, there was no reason to play Silver or Gold ever again, except for like one or two exclusive Pokemon. Anyway, got one more question.
Make it a good one.
Yeah,
just make it a question.
We'll make it a question. Yeah, you don't need to put that pressure on these people. They're trying hard enough.
Well, not hard enough, but they're trying.
Yeah, and this is kind of related to what I just asked. But Shiranui asks, do you guys prefer the original games or the remakes? For example, Crystal
Remakes.
Or Soul Silver and Heart Gold? And your answer is remakes?
Remakes, absolutely. Heart Gold and Soul Silver added Battle Frontier, which I loved.
Yeah.
They added more mechanics. They rebooted the world visually. There is no downside to the remakes, except for Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, which removes stuff, and that's why I haven't forgiven it.
What did they remove in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire?
They removed the Battle Frontier. They made gyms easier to go through.
But the Battle Frontier was only added for Emerald.
It was only added for Emeralds, which is a lot of people's arguments about how the fact that it's not a downgrade because it's an upgrade on... So, yeah, it's an upgrade on Sapphire and Ruby, but it was a downgrade on Emeralds, which I never really saw as a justification, because the whole idea of remakes is partially to show where we've come, how we can improve things, and I never felt that Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire were improved.
Didn't they also...
The battling itself is ruined.
Didn't they also have extra story?
It was so incredibly easy.
Didn't they also have extra story
They added
elements?
an extra chapter, yeah.
Yeah. Like something about...
It wasn't good.
Dimension hopping or something like that.
It was the stupidest fucking thing. It's overcomplicating, like, the Pokemon universe. Like, to try and justify the idea that Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire exists within a parallel universe to Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emeralds, which...
Yeah.
Unless they're going to do anything with that, I just don't understand what the point is.
I mean, they've been playing up multiverse stuff a lot, so...
Yeah, but I don't know why.
Well, actually, Yazi has a theory about that, related to the multiverses. You were saying that there's a lot of dimensional stuff with the professor's wife?
No.
Yeah.
No, she's just... Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Is
So
she
we're
a multi-dimensional being?
You mean the stuff that she talks about?
Yeah, the stuff that she talks
well,
about.
I mean, all she was talking about was hinting at a Sinnoh remake.
Yeah, at a Sinnoh remake, exactly.
Is that what we're talking about right now?
Yeah, so we're talking about how like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire sort of played up that. Yeah, so I was trying not to break kayfabe, but Yazi just went to the bathroom.
Yazi had to pee. I'm sorry, I missed everything. I've actually been gone for the last 30 minutes. They've just been using recordings of it.
I was just using puppetry and telemetry to make this work.
Okay, but no, really, so I'm sorry. I have no idea what the fuck we're talking.
Yeah, so we're talking about the remakes.
Yes,
do you prefer remakes or the originals? So Heart Gold, Soul Silver, or Crystal?
That's hard to say because obviously the remakes want the same kind of magic that the first ones had.
Yeah, that's kind of my take on it too. I mean,
obviously the remakes are better.
Yeah, they're better. Yeah, so they're better.
It's just better. Yeah, it's hard to argue.
They're better to play, but at the same time, like Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out when I fell off Pokemon, and they're remakes of my favorite Pokemon games, and they didn't get me back on the wagon.
Yeah, like they lack the same low quality charm that the Game Boy ones had.
They had Pokemon following you though.
Yeah, that was amazing. Honestly, I think my problem with Heart Gold and Soul Silver was that they added one thing too much. The Pokewalker took away from my experience of playing that game.
That was so silly.
Yeah, like I tried using the Pokewalker and I was just like, this is just a pointless gimmick that...
Okay, wait. You don't understand how fucking hype I was. I was so hyped for the Pokewalker because years before that, they had a Pikachu version of that.
Yeah, Hey You Pikachu. I loved Hey You. The Pokemon Pikachu 2. I had the gold and silver one. Yes. Where you could train Pokemon like a Digimon.
It was like a weird mix of a Tamagotchi and a pedometer.
It's Digimon. It was Digimon.
I think I had one of those.
Yeah, no, I know, but it was literally a Digivice.
But it was like the original
Pikachu.
Digimon, yeah.
It was a Digivice, but Pikachu.
Have you ever touched a Tamagotchi in your life?
Yes, I have.
And you don't think it was like it was literally a Tamagotchi?
Yeah, because Tamagotchis and Digimon are the same thing. Yeah.
Tamagotchis were Digimon, and Digimon were the Pikachu.
Yeah, I was really let down by the Pokewalker. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
I was very let down by that.
It was a big letdown.
Sinnoh remake confirmed is what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
If you go talk when you're talking to Professor's wife.
Why would they do it? Even the Sinnoh remakes were on the Nintendo DS. Like, you can play it on the machines we have.
Money.
I don't understand it.
Because Sinnoh was so successful.
And, I mean, yeah, at that point, they're gonna have to remake Black and White in 3D. Snake's eating its own tail too fast.
Yes.
We don't know how long X and Y will be out in 4 years.
We don't know how long it's going to take for them to do this in a remake. It's just when you talk to Professor's wife, she's talking about... Mm-hmm. She does studies of dimensions, and she's talking about Giratina specifically.
That's a possibility, but at the same time, I feel like they might move. Move away from doing remakes because
some of us fucking love Sinnoh. So
they're trying to refresh Pokemon.
Some of us want to take Cyrus to another dimension in 3D.
I think they're trying to create an overarching plot. I genuinely think what they're trying to do is they're eventually going to get to a point where we'll have a game that the focus is on dimensions and all the different dimensions.
I think maybe Cyrus will come back.
All of this is led into it.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole other dimension. That was the real theory. I mean, I'm yelling for a Sinnoh remake because Sinnoh remake confirmed. But, memes...
remake makes no sense, though. It already looked fine.
Memes aside,
Pokemon.
I think that they're hinting that the next theme might be back on the train of dimensions, and they might tie Giratina's dimension into it because they built a lot of stuff up in Sinnoh. Mm-hmm. They built up the god of all Pokemon. They built up Darkrai. They built up.
I'm just thinking because we joked about like a Sinnoh remake, but there's nothing to say that there can't be another game that
is set in the Sinnoh region.
No, not just set in the Sinnoh region, but uses a Sinnoh legendary.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Maybe not as the core one, but as a major factor in the story.
Because, I mean, Arceus was kind of whimper, Darkrai was kind of whimper, and, God, what the fuck is his name? That has multiple forms, they had a movie around him. No, he's like a... he's red, he looks like a robot.
Yeah.
And he's got a bunch of forms.
I think...
They let him...
Oh, Genesect.
No.
Fuck,
he's from Sinnoh. Oh, God, what's his name? They let this Pokemon die on a big old flop. Same as Shaman. They had the movies, but that's it.
Mm-hmm.
They built up so much lore around Arceus and Giratina and Dialga and Palkia, whatever you say it. And to keep it to one small region and basically as a mystery gift at the end of the whole game was like, you spent so long building up Arceus' hype and you released a movie about him that no one watched.
Yeah.
And I think they're realizing they could have banked on that, and I really hope that they're realizing
they can bring that story into the game and make it interesting.
I'm going to look up that Pokemon because it's going to piss me
off. And I feel like they could go and they could do remakes at this point. Deoxys, yeah. Destiny Deoxys.
Yes.
But I feel like...
Sorry, I tried to throw that out there. That was the one I was thinking of. They built up.
I feel like they could... If they're going to do remakes, I kind of want them to dip back into the well and bring back Red and Blue, bring back Gold and Silver. Because at this point, I'm back on board for Pokemon. And
this one man warrants an entire Silver
but I feel like the changes that they've made for Sun and Moon warrant actually remaking Red and Blue,
those worlds,
and Gold and Silver, and updating those worlds so that they feel compatible.
But a remake is a compromise,
or a sequel to Gold and Silver set in the Johto region, but in the new engine. Because I want to see what the Johto region looks like in 3D. I want to see what the Kanto region looks like in 3D. Like real 3D, not the compromisey 3D of Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Like at this point, we've gotten Ruby and Sapphire in 3D. And regardless of, whether or not you think that was actually worthwhile or good, that exists. You have those assets, and that allows for, I think, more storytelling opportunities. Maybe at some point we can get...
Yeah, but
we can have a real world-hopping Pokemon story. If we can get all of these games updated to the same engine. And have all of those worlds existent.
But I'm kind of sick of remakes at this point.
I am too. But if they're gonna do it, I just want Gold and Silver again.
There's also the flip side that if they have to keep releasing Pokemon content, and that's how X and Y happened, is they were like, we gotta release something.
Yeah.
And then they shat out this awful game.
I mean, yeah, because running a mega franchise is the exact same thing as running a YouTube channel. You don't put things out every 2 weeks. People stop caring.
It's true. But that's the other flip side of no remakes would mean, or like steering away from remakes, would mean they have to keep that RPG.
Have original ideas.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, stuff like Mystery Dungeon didn't pull people in enough to keep it going between Pokemon games. They have to have something that will keep people going to give them those years that they need to create a perfect universe.
To create a good game.
It's a Pokemon XD.
Nah.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, Coliseum and XD didn't bring people in either.
So.
Sadly. Good game.
I mean, yeah, I would love another follow-up to what was the name of that region?
Oh, fuck. It starts with a... Aura.
Yeah, the I say it as Or.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Aura region, whatever it's called. That was a cool place to explore. And you want to talk about...
Yeah, it was like Californian desert.
You want to talk about shiny Pokemon feeling special. When you run into a shiny dark Pokemon, that's something else. Anyway, to bring this back to the question that you asked, I think...
What was the question again?
Remakes or originals. I think that the remakes play better, but I think that the experience of playing the games fresh is valuable. And I think that even good follow-ups like Crystal take away from that a little. The reason I didn't enjoy Heart Gold and Soul Silver that much is by the time I got to those games, I'd played through that story 3 times. And, Fire Red and Leaf Green, I had the same problem. I had played through blue and yellow. So, in my opinion,
even though those games are genuinely broken.
Oh yeah, no, like objectively, do not function. I wrote the Did You Know Gaming Glitches episode on Pokemon glitches, and oh man, Pokemon Red and Blue are busted.
Oh yeah, those games are genuinely fucked.
Gold and Silver are too. Anyway, we gotta wrap this. Though. Yeah, not as much because Iwata fixed them. But we gotta wrap this up. We've been going at this for 2.5 hours now. While I could talk about Pokemon forever, and I think that's true of everybody here.
No one cares anymore.
No, we gotta get to Gundam tomorrow.
Yeah,
that's the real reason. We're cutting you guys off because we gotta get to Gundam. So yeah, thank you for coming by, Canipa. Really enjoyed your inputs on the series.
No problem.
Really enjoyed you agreeing with everything I said.
Even though it's now 3 a.m.
Oh yeah, it's 3 a.m. where you are. It's only 1:22 where we are. We're winning.
Oh, good for you.
Also, we're not upside down, so...
We're not upside down, yeah, that's true.
Like some Australians.
Yeah, kind of just like hanging on to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, well...
Yeah.
That's that.
Yeah, thank you for coming by. I am Geoff Thew, professional shitbag. That was Canipa Effect. Say hi one last time.
Hi. I mean, bye.
Bye,
yes.
Yep. And this is my girlfriend, Tenlade Cosplay.
Please don't touch me.
And we're signing out from Tokyo and also Australia.
Bye.
Gotta catch them all.
Bye.
Kill yourself.
You can't tell them to do that. If they
not
do it,
you,
that's a felony.
not them, you.
Oh, me. Okay. Yeah, I'll just jump off this balcony right now. See you later, baby.
Bye. Okay.
Okay.
I can't believe there's no Crunchyroll advert at the end.
Go to crunchyroll.com/basement.